Hello and welcome to Skill of the Week for 6th grade drawing coral tubes. Okay, so we're just going to be doing some reviewing from previous things that we've done to create depth in our picture. So we got to remember our vocabulary words, and depth is created by the use of different things, and we are going to be using the foreshortened circle and overlapping and contour. Okay, so remember those vocabulary words. When you are doing a foreshortened circle, what does it look like? Okay, a regular circle looks like a circle, right? But when you turn it up, instead of looking straight down on it and it's a circle, you turn it up, you create a foreshortening. And that is when you create the oval look. Okay, and I'm just kind of sketching it out with a pen so you can see it. When you are creating your coral tubes, I'll kind of try and turn it around here so you can see. You're going to make your oval first, okay, your foreshortened circle. And if you want to, in fact, I recommend this, sketch it out lightly with your pencil first. Keep it light, okay? Remember when we learned about it years ago, we put a dot on each side and then a curved line and another curved line. That can help you get it started, but if you just use a gestural motion and kind of create that skinny oval, you can get that same kind of feeling. Okay, so when you're creating your foreshortened circle, okay, I'm just going to create another one here that's kind of small. It's just kind of a disc, okay, just really small. And then you're going to make your rim. Okay, so we're going to draw a skinny rim over here and then just a suggestion of a rim in the front. Okay, so it looks like that. And then, let's see if I can get this to come down. There we go. And then when you draw your tube, okay, we're thinking about tubes, coral tubes in the ocean. And I got to see a bunch when I was snorkeling this summer. Hold on.
Could I please have the ninth graders report to the gym on the east side for pictures at this time? All ninth graders, please report to the gym on the east side of the stage at this time. Thank you.
Sorry for the interruption. We have school happening right now, and we're doing our yearly pictures, so that happens sometimes. Okay, so when we're making our tubes, we're just going to kind of let it be kind of lumpy and not like jagged or anything, but lumpy. And it goes from a wide edge down to a narrower edge. And notice that I don't have it straight up and down. It's kind of slanting and curving so that I create some interest in my picture. If I have them all lined up in a row and they're all exactly the same, that's not going to look very natural or like what nature would show us. And then, of course, we've got our foreshortened circle. We can do a couple of those. I'm going to just go over this particular one a little bit. Make the rim. Okay, curve it around a little bit, and maybe I want this one going this direction. And it's okay to not have a perfect line. I'm letting it be kind of bumpy. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of contour lines in there, like we had here. Okay, contour. And that's just, remember, lines that suggest the contour of the object, the roundness of the object. So I'm going to look for little areas that my coral tube is bumping out, and when it bumps back in, emphasize that it's coming in and around. Okay, not too many. You don't want it to look like a pattern. You want it to look kind of natural. Okay, just a couple here and there, just to kind of suggest that you've got contour. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use that one that I suggested there and create the rim. And this is where my overlapping comes in, another of our vocabulary words. Overlapping. Oops, I have it backwards, I think. There we go. Overlapping. And I'm going to draw this one behind this one to make it look like I'm creating depth. Now, it's a little bit big to be behind this other one because normally when we go back in space, things get smaller. But maybe this is an extra big coral tube. Okay, it's kind of sitting out in the front. Now, this one's kind of a smaller one, so that will actually work. I'm going to emphasize that one. Make my rim. Suggest that it comes in a little bit, but don't bring it all the way around. And then I'm going to bring it behind this one so this overlaps this. So it's going to create some depth. And again, I'm creating these slightly bumpy coral tubes that twist and turn, and they don't necessarily follow any pattern. Okay? Almost looks like little tornadoes. Okay? And suggest a few contour lines on that, not too many. Most of our contour is going to be done when we shade. Okay, I've got 4 on there. I'm going to create 1 more over here, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and make him come over here. And he's going to overlap underneath these other 2. There we go. Now I brought those down past the bottom of my page. Normally I don't draw to the bottom of the page because it kind of loses its depth, but I want them to kind of disappear off the page, and then I'm going to have some sand growing up here. Okay, so that I have a ground line. All right, so there are my different coral tubes. You can make them as many as you want, but really you need to make them pretty large because this is a 12 by 18 sheet of paper, and then you can start coloring. Now I just want to show you a couple of things on coloring with one that I've already started, and this is going to be in the classroom for you. It's not written backwards like I did on this so that I could show it on my little video, but I've started to color the background. It's not complete, and I've colored a lot of my coral tubes. They're not complete because I wanted to show you this one as we did it. Now I want you to notice what I'm doing to create depth. I'm coloring across the contour. My lines are coming this way, showing that curved effect that this coral tube has. I'm also creating a light side and a dark side. So the light is hitting on one side and then creating a shadow on the other side. And I'm trying some different colors. Not all coral is all the same color. I saw different colored coral while I was snorkeling this summer and saw some really interesting kinds of coral. I did see some tubes, and no, these aren't realistic tubes, but it helps us to learn the technique. Oh, and one thing I did want to mention, you do have, when you have a light on this side, on the inside of your coral tube, the shadow is on the light side because when the light is hitting, this is creating a block and doesn't allow the light to hit right here. But it comes in and it hits right there. Okay? And then the shadow's on this side. So that's something that we need to watch for. Also to watch for, be careful how you're coloring. If you're going to create a blue background, which I'm probably going to add some green into that so it kind of looks like maybe a Caribbean Sea, don't make all your coral tubes the same color as your background because you do want them to stand out. Now I outlined mine with a black marker so that you can see them better. You can do that if you like, or you can do it with a darker colored pencil, or you can just shade it just to make it look a little darker. Okay, so I'm going to do some more shading on this, and I think I'm going to use a red. This is red-orange, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and work with this one. So when I'm coloring across the contour, I'll get another one because I've got kind of a dull one. There we go. I'm coloring back and forth here, making sure I'm paying attention. I've got shadow on this side, so I'm keeping the shadow on this side. And I'm coloring in a way with these colored pencils, and they're really nice colored pencils. They're not the junky kind. That creates that feeling of a contoured tube. It's rounded. It's got depth. It's got space. It takes up space. Okay? And I'm layering the colors gently. I'm taking my time so that it looks nice, and if I need it to be smoothed out, I can go in different directions right there so I don't get outside of my lines. But generally, I'm keeping everything in coloring in contour to the tube, thinking about it being rounded, okay, and layering slowly. I don't want to try to get all the color there on at once. If I try to color dark all at once, like this, I can't layer any colors, okay, because this puts on kind of a waxy surface, and if I try to layer another color over the top of it, I really don't have very much success with that. So, if you color with colored pencils, then you're better off keeping things really light, soft, keeping it in the contour. Okay, I'm going to darken some areas up and keep some areas light because I am going to layer some more color in there, but I'm just going to do this quick so you can see where this contour is coming down. I'm going to put a little shadow there just so it feels like there's a lump there and the light is not able to hit that area. I'm going to make it quite a bit darker, but I'm layering it in lightly. I'm not going to try to darken it all at once. Okay, so now here's bringing it back up, keeping it just layered nicely, kind of keeping that curve to it. Okay, so I'm not going to go all the way with this. I just want to show you a color that can be layered over it. Like I'm going to use, let's see, I think I'll use violet. Okay, and because it takes red and blue to make violet, I'm safe to use violet with the red. Okay, keep in mind your color wheel that you learned back in 3rd grade, and remember that you don't want to layer colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, because then you're going to have this nasty brownish color that doesn't look very nice. Okay, so I'm layering this in just to darken it. Okay, I can keep it lighter on the other side with a little more of that red. Now I did use red orange, so since it has orange in it, yellow is across from violet on the color wheel, but since I kept it pretty light and it was red orange and not like yellow orange or something, I still am pretty safe as long as I don't try to go too dark with it. Okay, so there's what's happening with that. You're seeing that feeling of depth, curving around, blending of a couple of different colors. I could bring up, let's see, maybe I'll just lighten it up with a little bit of orange on this side. I'm not going to take my violet on that side because I don't want to mix the violet and the orange. But I can just use this as my highlight. This makes it feel like light is hitting that edge. Okay, keeping it light, layering it. Don't let it get too dark. I can always go back in with my red orange again. Blend those two areas a little bit. Okay, just remember coloring across the contour. Now I'm going to deal with this area so you can see that now that the shadow is on this side, that means I need the light hitting this side. So I'm going to, I'm going to put the orange over here. I might need to add a little yellow to that just to brighten it up a little bit because I accidentally still had my red orange in my hand. So I can lighten that up a little bit to create a little bit more light there. And maybe I'll even throw a little yellow in here just really lightly, just to keep it light and no shadow. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my red orange and put the shadow over on this side. Because remember, the shadow on the inside of my foreshortened circle has to be on the same side as my highlight. Okay, and then I can just blend it back to middle. And I can add a little bit of shadow there with my violet. Oops, I've got a dull pencil. There we go. Okay, so that I have a nice shadow there. And it ends up looking like it's got depth. Okay, your background, you can add whatever colors you like to your background. We are making it in the sea, so it's totally up to you. Try to stick with the sea colors, but be creative. It doesn't matter. If I wanted to add some turquoise to my sea, make it a little darker wherever my coral tubes are. I just go in different directions so that it all blends together. If you always go the same direction, we tend to see our pencil lines, but if you're layering it nicely, you're going in different directions, you can usually blend it pretty nicely. Okay? If you get too dark of an area, like I got kind of a spot there, I can start in that area and then just blend it out. Okay, so just kind of play it by ear, see what you want to do with your color combinations. I added a little blue-green here, and earlier I added a little bit of purple there. So, you know, you can do your background however you like. This is going to be set in the art room so that you can see the example and refer back to it. But basically, that's what I want you to do for your coral tubes. Take up a lot of space. Use your foreshortened circle. You're overlapping to create that depth that we want and color across the contour. Thank you. See you in the classroom.